Hi, this is Kevin Croke, head coach at UCD Rugby Club. In this series of interviews, in conjunction with club sponsor Crowe, we talk to past and present players who share their memories of the club and how it has impacted their career both on and off the field. In this interview, Shane and I catch up with Greg Jones. Greg brings us through his journey from St Andrews into UCD and his move north to Ulster, moving through their academy into their professional side. To get us started, could you give us a quick rundown through you coming into school, your career in UCD and what you're up to now?
So went to St Andrews, obviously not the biggest rugby school, but in recent time has produced probably a lot more professionals than it has in the last sort of 40 or 50 years even. Then when I was in St Andrews, basically always I was encouraged, I remember by my dad, like being young enough, saying, if you're going to play club rugby after you leave school, you should definitely give student rugby a go and play for a college, because he played for UCD and really enjoyed it. And then basically, played in UCD for 3 years. Really enjoyed it. Played with loads of lads I would have sort of played with before, lads I would have played against in school, as the way it always is. Had a really good time, And then at the end of my 3 years, basically got after I played the U20s World Cup in the end of my second year in college probably, and then was like offered an academy contract in Ulster, and sort of agreed that I'd be able to finish my final year of college, get my degree sort of done, play another year with UCD, and then move up. So that's basically been the road until now. I'm up here 4 years now. Well settled, played a good bit of rugby, having a great time. So
when you came into UCD, obviously you said you were playing with guys that you used to play against. Any standout names that you would have come across and thought, geez, that guy's really good?
Yeah,
I hated him in school, but he's pretty sound too.
Yeah. To be fair, I guess like a lot of the guys I would have played with in the first couple of years who were really good, I would have kind of played underage with, because I was born in January, where I sort of got to play a bit with two kind of age grade years. So those first 2 years, like obviously played with so many good players that I'd sort of played with before. But I'd say with the senior team, like there's a few guys that sort of spring to mind who I didn't really know before playing with them and was like seriously impressed with. Barry Daly's definitely one. He's just like so athletic, so strong, just able to sort of make something from nothing. And I remember it was always great, like having a winger like him, that like if someone made a line break and just gave him the ball, you just knew he was scoring, like there was every single time. Then another guy who I was always so impressed with was Patter Timmins, just on a sheer like level of just putting out a performance every single time he played. Like he never dipped. Like any game I played with him, he was just the same, like such a consistent performer, like so physical, class ball carrier, and just such a good guy to play with, just because you knew every time you went into a game, he was just going to be sort of like leading from the front. He was a bit of a talisman kind of character to play with. Jamie Glynn's another one, just out of sheer just versatility, like such a good player, able to just play anywhere, 9, 10, 12, 13. And he'd be doing it week in, week out, jumping around the place like they're the main. And then in my final year, another guy I didn't know about who played a lot of first team rugby when he was just in college his first year was Tommy O'Brien. I thought he was another guy who was class, and similar to Jamie, sort of could play around a bit, like playing different positions, and just looked really comfortable at that level, even at a young age. So they're the guys that I sort of wouldn't have known about that I was really impressed with when I played with. Yeah.
The question I'm asking here is probably twofold. One, what did you learn across that under 20s UCD and Irish under 20s year that helped you in the subsequent year? And you just said you had a good year. What were the enjoyable sides of playing a full season of club rugby?
Yeah, so I guess the main thing I probably took from the year of playing like 20s and Irish 20s and stuff was probably just a level of confidence of, you play, say, Six Nations games against other countries, and like I think when you're younger, you just have this natural tendency to perceive guys the same age as you from other countries, for some reason they're going to be way better, or like you just overhype them and then you play against them, and you know, like if you're able to sort of hold your own, it's a bit of a confidence booster. And then that 20s World Cup we played in the summer was like, we got to the final and we won. Like we beat New Zealand in the group stage, and we had a really good tournament. And again, that was another sort of I felt like I came out of that probably with more confidence again, that like, you know, I was able to compete at that sort of level. And then going into that final year in UCD, I just remember the way we sort of set up the team and stuff. There was a lot of like influence on, or a lot of encouragement for forwards to like move the ball a lot, pass the ball, and that sort of suited me. And I felt like that was something I was good at, and also improved a load. I improved that a lot during the year, from just the amount of ball I was sort of getting, and the way we were coached, and sort of the free license we were given to sort of play. I guess slightly loose at times, but like I'll put it this way: we were never really reined back in, and sometimes maybe that was to our detriment. But we were certainly consistent in that regard, and I really enjoyed playing like that. Like I loved having the sort of free license to be able to throw the odd speculative pass, or do something that maybe in other teams would be perceived not kind of forward like play. But and then I guess just the standard of player you're playing with in UCD, like the whole way through, every year I played in, just such good players around you. Like look at even some of the guys I played 20s with, like, you know, like Will, Porter, Hugo, then the seniors, James Ryan, like all these guys have gone on to play for Ireland. And obviously outside of that, just the basic, the crack, as well as after the games. And there's just like a really good culture in the club. Like everyone got on, just like quite a tight knit club. And I just remember after games, it was always just like either people going out together. It was just a good social scene as well. And like I'd still be in a WhatsApp group with like 6 or 7 of the guys I would have played 20s with and a bit of seniors with, still keep in touch with a good few of them. So yeah, it was just sort of basically everything you want with rugby. Like I just found it sort of ticked all the boxes: good social scene, nice free flowing rugby. We were really competitive class players all over the teams. So yeah.
How big a role do you think emotion plays in games? And if you think it plays a role, is it the same at club level as pro level, or is it a bit more process and going to work, I suppose, at a pro level?
I think it's huge at both levels. There's always that thing, no matter what level you're at, where like before the game you can sort of feel that thing, even in the changing room, of like this game is slightly different, or there's just a slightly different emotional undercurrent going on. And I don't think that ever changes. Like every sort of age I've played at, past kind of like, I don't know, secondary school, or like even kind of junior cup, probably is the first time that sort of, when it starts getting a bit more serious. I think it's always a factor. And it's why like in big games, you know, in big games, good teams tend to turn up, and like people perform better in big games when there's that sort of extra added incentive, and that sort of added incentive often sort of materializes as just a more emotional team going out there who want to win more. And I think no matter what level you play at, it's always a huge factor. Yeah.
How does the relationship you have with the players you're playing with influence your emotional edge or tone going into a game?
Yeah, again, like I think it's so important. You know, I've heard some people before say, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like when your teammates, you don't have to be friends and that kind of stuff. And like, while I can see how like there's cases obviously where people mightn't be friends but are great competitors when they're on the same team, I just think that's always like so important. And I guess I've been lucky just the whole, like, through school, UCD, Ulster, like I've never really been in a squad where I felt like there's been like any negative energy between any of the players really. And like UCD in particular, like I felt like every team I played for, everyone got on incredibly well. Maybe I was missing out on the small little tiffs going on between people, but like it seemed like all the teams I played for, everyone got on really well, and like everyone wanted to play for each other, and everyone was on a similar sort of script. And I think it's incredibly important. I think it sort of coincides a bit with the emotional aspect you're talking about. Like naturally, I feel like if you're closer with the people you're playing with, it just means like when it comes down to it, you're all going to be sort of rooting for the same goal, and you know everyone else is the same sort of commitment level to achieving whatever that goal is.
Greg, just a quick one. So moving from college to Ulster, how did you find that? Was it a big step up, or did you think that kind of your time with UCD had prepared you well for the transition?
I thought playing with UCD like had prepared me real well. Like the jump definitely wasn't as big as I perceived. There's probably an added level of like detail and understanding around the small bits you want to do that comes with having an extra, whatever, a 4-day training week or 5. You're in there every day. It's obviously that's a slightly different level in terms of like how many lineouts you can run through or how many plays you can run through. But that naturally comes with it just being a job. But in terms of the actual playing, like I've particularly as a forward, like I remember the first few games I played, they were definitely like very physical and fast, but like I remember playing games against teams like Lansdowne, Clontarf, Cork Con when they were fully stacked that weren't too far off it. Certainly, yeah, I didn't feel like it was like an incredibly big jump. So yeah, no, I thought playing in UCD, playing in 1A, like definitely prepped me well.